7 of China Nexus by Benny Rogers talks about Falun Gong. Falun Gong, you can see what based on the 3 news articles at the beginning of my video, you can see why cults like Falun Gong are illegal in China. When you have 1 million people following a political cult organizations such as Falun Gong, you could see where the chaos comes from. There was a young mom around 30 years old with a 3-year-old daughter who got killed in McDonald's. She was beaten to death by these cult people because she refused to give her name and phone number and join this cult. So you can see where this is leading when it comes to Falun Gong and other cults in China. China's trying to build a secular society where there's a separation between church and state, and Benny Rogers in China Nexus chapter 7 continues with his theme about his having a problem with the separation of church and state. You cannot have a functional country and protect your citizens when you have a bunch of cult people running loose, thinking that God and their cult leader gave them permission to kill people and beat people if they don't obey their cult leader and cult god's message and ideas. Falun Gong, in that other article at the beginning of my video, they basically got big money. They have a compound in upstate New York with old style Chinese buildings. And it says, this article says, it's a Western article from, I forgot which Western fake news media, but this one looks pretty accurate, or at least this editor. It says that there's 100 people living in this upstate New York Falun Gong compound, and internet is restricted, and there's arranged marriages, so relationships are pre-arranged by their cult leader. This sounds exactly like a cult from a Hollywood movie or TV show. This is a classic example of a cult. This is a cult. So these Falun Gong people got a problem with internet censorship in China, which is fake news. Because of my other YouTube video, anyone could just download VPNs for free on their iPhone, and I also got VPN on my Huawei Harmony OS 2 operating system, and I got a VPN. I visit all of YouTube, I visit Google. So that's just fake news that China controls people and won't let people view websites that are from outside of China. So Falun Gong, this compound, they're just doing what they accuse the government of China of doing by censoring and limiting internet, and also they arrange marriages for people living in this compound. So that's opposite of freedom and just being a person. You're being controlled by the cult leader. And Shen Yun, that fake Chinese acrobat or performance or whatever it's called, where they try and spread the Falun Gong message. Well, those performances are a piece of junk. It's just people running around. They don't have special skills, and Shen Yun right now is giving tickets out for free because nobody wants to spend money to watch fake news and listen to a message from the cult leader, Falun Gong cult leader, and other cults. This is just fake news. Organ harvesting cannot be done. I'll go through chapter 7, and it's just all make-believe. Benny thinks that someone could get shot in the head or shot in the heart and suffer massive blood loss and still donate a kidney, heart, or a liver or whatever. If you have massive blood loss, your organs die. It just won't work, and he thinks people can just harvest organs without doing CAT scans and without doing blood tests to check if the donor is a good donor. Benny doesn't have any medical background or basic knowledge. He says he thinks people can you can just take body parts off somebody without doing a blood test to check their blood type and check for diseases and whatever. It's just this whole thing is just delusional. Chapter 7, and he makes up a few fictional characters and who claim that they were released from a Falun Gong jail, but this is fake news too, because all these people who supposedly talk to Benny, all these fictional characters, they all come out Falun Gong jail with all of their organs and all their body parts intact inside their body. So this is just more fake news from Benny Rogers in chapter 7, and he continues his whole theme of the whole book where he has a problem with the separation between church and state. On page 180 of chapter 7, Benny describes his hotel stay in Bangkok, Thailand, where he's sitting on a chair or one of those patio deck chairs, lying down beside the pool with his laptop working. Benny needs to seriously find a real job because he's just using his human rights advocacy against Myanmar, China, and whatever, Laos, and whatever other Asian countries for his own benefit. He's just living off the UK or USA and Conservative Party taxpayers he's just using this as an excuse that he's doing work for human rights while he's just enjoying life himself. Because Benny, you know what Benny really needs to ask, and everybody else needs to seriously just ask, what is the benefit of Benny's work and his fake experts friends work on people who live in China, Myanmar, Laos, and whatever other countries? Because there's no benefit. He's not changing anything for people in these countries, and he's just creating more Asian hate in Western countries against Asian people who are citizens of Western countries. Benny really needs to think about it, and everybody else needs to think about it. I'm sure Benny knows he's doing his fake job, can't get a real job, and he's just using other people's money to live a extravagant lifestyle. Later on in page 180, it goes on to talk about another hotel stay, this time with Benny and fake Miss Lean's hotel stay, or just their chat in a hotel lobby. This is just another example of the lifestyle and abuse of power that these fake Falun Gong supporters and anti-China people live off of. So Benny just lives off these human rights and fake news groups with his luxury hotel stays in Bangkok, even though it's cheap, but it still adds up if you stay there for more than one day. So basically, Miss Lean has a problem with just walking around the lobby and checking out what food they offer at the lobby cafe, but she has a problem and she has to actually ask someone if they have whatever croissants or whatever this thing is. I just don't understand. There's a cafe and where food is laid out in the lobby. That's what's available. Go get it or go order it or check out the menu. Why do you have to make a special? She knows that if you get the waiter or the lobby hotel employee over here and ask about croissants or scones or whatever, they'll make a special they'll give you a special consideration if you're famous or whatever, like what she is, Miss Canada or whatever. But she's just using and abusing her fame for free stuff and wants special treatment. Is it that hard to just eat what's available on the menu or what's laid out in the hotel cafe instead of getting stuff for free? These people are just the leeches. Page 182 of chapter 7, Benny makes up a fake story about a a letter that comes from a prisoner in a Falun Gong jail that manufactures Halloween accessories. He doesn't specify what is the Halloween item. He doesn't specify if it's like a witch hat or a jack-o'-lantern plastic container that carries trick-or-treat candy treats, a Batman costume, a Spider-Man costume, or a face mask or whatever. He doesn't specify what it is, just as Halloween item. I think this is just fake news. If this letter is real, he'll say these people will claim that it was discovered inside a Batman costume. This is just fake news. Nobody knows who Julie Keith is. Fake news, fictional character created by Benny Rogers. And I also have a hard time believing that it took 2 years to discover this supposed letter from a Falun Gong jail. 2 years. If you're gonna make up fake news, at least try to make it believable. 2 years, I don't think it's just realistic, and it's being used for a birthday party that's close to Halloween. I could understand it if somebody buys discounted Halloween accessories and costumes right after Halloween and use it the next year. But waiting 2 years to use it, I just have a hard time believing that. On page 183 of chapter 7, Barry makes up a fake imaginary character called Sun Yi, who nobody knows what it is and cannot be verified. So basically, Sun Yi's a Falun Gong prisoner who got released with all of his organs and body parts intact, while everybody else didn't. This is just fake news. And I just don't understand how this person could come out fine and other people not. This is just fake news to demonize China. This person's a fake witness. And you know what? People in China don't have massive health problems from the poisonous food that they eat. Hospitals in China don't have lineups for cardiac, heart surgery, kidneys transplants, and liver transplant, heart transplants, and whatever transplant, because people in general in China are more healthy than people in Canada, USA, especially the people who are over 60 years old. People here just don't have the type of health problems like diabetes, obesity, and all that poison food junk that people in Western countries eat that make them unhealthy and need medical attention all the time. So that's why people in the United States, for example, could have years and years of wait time to get a replacement organ. But in China, there's very little demand for it, even though it's 1.4 billion people. And look at how many potential organ donors there are who die from natural causes and unfortunately by accident. Page 188 talks about how a single hospital in China does 10,000 organs transplants a year. I don't see how this is not realistic legitimately. In Tianjin, there's like 10 million people or something like that. It's a large city, over 5 million for sure, and 10,000 is not a small number. And look at how many people die in China from just random accidents when you have 1.4 billion people. 1% or 0.5% or 0.01% of 1.4 million people is a lot of people, and a lot of people just die naturally. So when people die at a hospital, they get asked, their relatives get asked, or maybe in the will, it might say that they want to donate organs. So I don't see a problem with that. It's just like any hospital in Canada, USA, UK, or Europe. And later on, there's a fictional person called Yu Yinhai, who Benny claims has a shocking first-hand account of what happened. This person supposedly got released from a Falun Gong jail in China, but this is just this person. Nobody knows who this person is. This person is just a make-believe character, and this person came out of Falun Gong jail with all of his or her organs and all of his or her body parts. So this is fake news. How could other people in jail get their organs sold and whatever, and this person just randomly survives all that? I just don't understand how this person could make it alive in one piece if he or she keeps claiming that other people got killed. On page 190 here of chapter 7, Benny claims that Falun Gong prisoners are ideal candidates to be organ donors because they don't take drugs or alcohol. Well, you know what? And most people in China, no, well, hard drugs are absolutely illegal in China. Drug abuse is almost basically impossible because you can't get hard drugs like cocaine, meth, fentanyl, and whatever here. And for prescription drugs, you have to go to the big hospital. There's a pharmacy at all the big hospitals owned by the government, and you have to go there in person, show your ID, and they do a face scan with the camera and a computer. You can't get any relatives or friends to pick it up for you. You have to go there in person, and a doctor reviews your case, and if you got cancer, whatever, you can take that drug, or if you got whatever problem, you can get a drug that's specifically for that. But getting even prescription medications for like cancer or pain or whatever, it's basically hard to get. You have to bring yourself there and show your ID and do a face scan. They got a record to make sure you're not doing drug abuse. So this is just fake news. Alcohol, okay, I can maybe understand that there's a lot of alcoholics out there, but not the majority. It's not a lot of people, less than Western countries, that for sure. And just assuming that Falun Gong people are healthy because they don't do drugs or alcohol, that's just fake news. Well, every time every time somebody wants to donate an organ or do surgery, doctors have to do the nurses or whatever hospital gotta do a blood test, check your blood type, because they're not gonna believe your word for it. They gotta take your blood type, check if you have any diseases, and they want blood work can detect cancer, diseases, and that you're not even aware of. And yeah, so just Benny here just does this fake news, ignores blood work tests, and just assumes that Falun Gong people are ideal candidates because they don't do drugs or alcohol. They're compatible with all blood types. A blood A type person could just donate to blood O. Fake news. Later on page 190, Benny claims that the police shot a Falun Gong prisoner dead, and I don't see how anyone can donate an organ when there's massive blood loss and you're dead from massive blood loss. People just the whole body basically goes into shock. There's inflammation and blood clotting. So I just don't see how this would work. Benny does not have any basic medical education. This is just common sense, something that you learned in first year university or in grade 12 biology. When you're bleeding out, your organs also fail, lack of oxygen, lack of nutrients through the blood circulation system. And also, it just goes back to my previous point. There's no blood test. Nobody even knows what's the blood type of this person. And there's no blood work test done to check if there's any diseases, if this person's healthy, in terms of detecting diseases from the blood. I just don't understand this. So the whole purpose of doing blood work is to check if you have AIDS, HIV, cancer, and anything unhealthy that makes you not that makes you not possible to donate your blood or any of your organs. None of this blood work was done. So Benny just claims this guy was shoved into a van, took to a hillside, shot dead, and ordered the doctors to remove the organs when nobody even knows what's the state of this person's health and what's the state of these organs, the blood type, and if this person is healthy, no AIDS, no HIV. Just more fake news from Benny here.